Gym Teacher Dreams coming at you. Podcast with I can't rhyme that. So anyway, Ray and Ryan here, ready. We've got a bunch of topics to talk about. A lot going on around us right now. A lot going on. So any news, Ray, before we get into our topics?
Not really. I think a lot of our topics are news, right?
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, I'm guessing this probably doesn't interest you, but Among Us, have you heard of it? Do you play it?
No.
Okay. Might have to ask Preston about it. It's probably a little bit more his speed, like his age group getting after that, but it's an app, it's a game on your phone or on your PC, and I don't know. It's interesting.
Among Us, okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask him.
All right. In our Google Meets, I see a lot of profile pictures are characters from Among Us, and the pumpkins I carved, they were characters from Among Us, and it's kind of big, I've noticed, in pumpkins right now also, pumpkin carving.
So when you carve pumpkins, you carve them all, or do you let the boys carve theirs, or?
I'm the carver.
You're the carver?
It's one of those things I'm probably not doing the right parenting move, but I don't trust them with knives and things like that. Everybody wants them to look nice, and in order for that to happen, it's pretty much got to be me. I set the tone, and it kind of backfired where the kids would pick an item or a picture or a theme that they wanted, and I would execute it, and usually pretty successful. But then you set the bar high, and it's hard to do that week in, week out, year in, year out. So I almost get a little bit of anxiety ahead of Halloween, because sometimes their themes are a little bit more detail oriented and challenging, but it worked out. Another successful year, and we're ready. And squirrels haven't eaten them yet.
Heather would have to do that because I'm not very good at it. Generally, mine look like kids carving.
We're gonna go back, and we're gonna go in the time machine, go back about 20 years. So my sister-in-law, Jake's wife, she used to work in television. Okay, and when she was starting, she was in like a small market television. The studio was really only a few blocks away from the campus of Elmhurst College. So if she needed like a last-second guest, she knew that I kind of love that stuff. Bucket list item would be like to be an extra, like someone in the background of like a movie or a big time television show, right? And hopefully your buddy can make that happen sometime for me.
He said we've just got to write it up, and send it out.
And then, so Gina used to, hopefully it's okay I say her name, but she knew that I would fill in at a moment's notice. I mean, ditch a class and go be on TV? Sure, I'll do that.
That's an easy one, yeah.
I'm ditching class anyway. So there were several times I was on TV. Well, they had some people lined up to do a pumpkin carving contest on the air, right? And she might have the video of this still, but so someone dropped out and they needed someone. So she calls me and she's like, "You want to carve pumpkins?" I'm like, "Do fat babies fart?" "Yeah, I'm there." All right. So I showed up, and my buddy, kind of like you and I, but 20 years ago, was my buddy Tim. We called him T-Bone. He was giving me pointers on how to carve pumpkins. But I, like you, I was, I carved like a third grader, with the little triangular eyes and the nose and the jagged teeth. I mean, like everyone does. And he's like, no, you can't do that. And he was trying to coach me. This is like 22 years ago. Coach me on how you can kind of do the contrasting colors by just carving off some of the orange, but leaving the pulp, like the white pulp, and the light will shine through, and then creating different depths, but you never have to carve all the way through the pumpkin. This was like 22 years ago. He was teaching me this. And now, like the last 5 years, that's what everybody's doing. But I give him props. And I haven't talked to him in probably 19 years, he got a job somewhere else. I get a job somewhere else. We haven't seen each other, whatever. And even with technology, the way it is, we haven't connected, probably his fault. But it's just, so he was on, so now he had helped me. Now I'm pretty much doing the carving skills that he gave me 20 some years ago. You know,
He was your
that was a long story.
He was your Obi-Wan and you were his Luke.
Yes, in a few different ways. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
T-Bone was a unique character. If I get back in touch with him, we got to have him on sometime.
Okay.
Have some funny stories, I'm pretty sure.
All right. So Star Wars, I made a Star Wars tournament. So I'm up to 95. I'm almost done. Almost done.
Whoa. 95 entries or 95 tournaments?
95 tournaments.
Okay.
Remember, I'm trying to get to 100. I'm almost there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can start filming some of those, you know. I guess I forget that you have that stockpile.
Yep. Just still haven't found how to get them out there. You know, I just ebook. Hasn't worked, and then they were just something that looks good. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but they're somewhat ready. That might mean I might have to type them all up again. And
no.
Yeah, that ain't no good. All right. So like I said, we have, that's my transition. You know how I hate right?
Okay. And I do know that, yes.
I almost did again. Mine, I have realized after filming myself all the time, is so. It's so I catch myself doing it and I hate it. Hated it.
It's all right.
So let's get started. Return to learn. So I did it again. See?
But see, so is more natural and it flows between thoughts better than So, I mean, there I did it.
I know.
If you're gonna do it, I mean, that's a better
one.
It's
not terrible, but I don't like starting every time with it.
Yeah. How do you break yourself? Is it just practice? We just talking about practice?
Yeah, it's got to be a mental approach. You just got to slow down and think. Don't say so. Return to learn. So it's just not going to work. So we are returning to learn here, supposedly the 4th.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready at the middle school?
I think there's a couple different ways to look at this. In terms of PE, I feel like we have a plan. Okay. Man.
Yeah, just go out and walk.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's this. Okay, we're gonna go down this way. This is PE is ready. Okay.
Okay, PE is ready.
There's gonna be a road that goes this way in a second.
Okay.
Go back like a month. All right. When
okay.
we're gonna eventually go to hybrid. What's the plan? The thought was all we could do is walk. Kanelin's walking. You know, we can't use equipment. We can't share equipment. We don't have time to wipe it down and sanitize it properly. All we can do is walk. I raised my hand, and you know how these PE meetings go. I raised my hand and I said, let's brainstorm. There's got to be more we can do. Walking is going to get boring real quick, okay? I'm a big proponent. I mean, we may be outside playing kickball, football, whatever, and what do you see all the adults do? The adults who are getting exercise, they're not walking by with a football in their hand. They're just walking or biking. So when I've said many, many times to the kids, look, when you get my age, when you get their age, that might be your exercise. You're not always going to be able to play football. Look at me, okay? You're not always going to be, athletic. At some point, you're just going to have to be content with exercise bike, walking around the neighborhood. That's going to be our means of exercise. So I'm okay with that. But for the middle school student, that's going to get boring super duper fast, right? You're going to end up just putting out fires. It's going to be discipline, right? That's what you're going to be managing. So I was like, let's brainstorm. What can we do? And there's 6 members of the PE staff, and maybe some of them listen. Most they probably don't, but whatever. I felt as though it was 5 against 1. Okay, that was 2 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, whatever it was. Fast forward till the most recent conversations when it was like real, it's in our face, and we are definitely going, hybrid or parallel, we're calling it, which in my opinion is the worst version of hybrid, but whatever. It's because of all the variables and all the issues and all the difficulties we're going to have. We all just kind of said, let's just walk. There's going to be too much chaos and too much to handle and manage and clean. And what if we have a sub and the sub comes in and, there's like 4 different grade books that you need for each period, because you have like the A day period where you're going to have these 8 kids. But if it's a B day, you have these 12 kids plus that one who's a 4-day kid because IEP 504, whatever, you know. And it's just, and don't forget, we're pumping out lessons to those remote kids. I mean, how does a sub manage all that stuff? And then,
how does
the
a teacher
gymnasium
manage?
shuffle, oh, am I in the aux gym? Am I in the fitness center? Am I in the main gym? What am I doing? So we're like, just to keep it simple for everybody, let's just walk. So yeah, you're right. When you say you're walking, you're right. That's what we kind of came to because it's just easiest for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we had conversations with Mark about, hey, you can use the fitness center. You just have to be mindful of this. The kids can help with cleaning. They can do this. Make sure you do that. I mean, so there are things you can do. But again, what's the easiest thing to do? That still satisfies a lot of what we want to do in PE. Just walk. So that's where we're at.
Okay.
That was a long answer, I think, to whatever the question was.
That's all right. Well, I don't get kids still. So
that's right. You're async in the afternoon, right?
All day long. All I do is 2 videos still, and we were having a live session here. Well, I've had one live session with each grade level.
So again, with all of the difficulties and with the fact that we feel like our hands are tied and all we can do is walk, in our meeting with the PE staff, I was like, can we push for async? So tell me the async side of it. How are you feeling about that? Am I silly for thinking that? Am I on the right track? Well, how do you feel about it being on the other side of it?
It is what it is. I think let me go long story. When we went into it, I thought we're probably not going to have class, or if we do, it's going to be limited. Last year we had kids 3 times a week, so we had 80 minutes with them. Shortened day, had to get the core in. I figured, at most we maybe see each class once a week. They went asynchronous, 2 videos that we have to put together.
Mm-hmm.
The asynchronous is nice in terms because there's a lot of cool stuff that you can create, and there's a lot of stuff out there that people have created.
Yeah.
So we've kind of mixed it up a little bit of stuff we've created, and then or got other people's stuff and kind of made it our own or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To answer your question, that would provide you more than just walking, and I think that's what you want.
Right. And our clientele is a little different. I feel like the middle school student is a little bit more intrinsically more motivated. They can do some of these things on their own. The elementary kid, I don't know. If you pump out a lesson to an elementary kid, who's to say they're doing it or doing it right or know how to do it? I mean, their brain just isn't as developed as like my clientele.
Yeah, well, for the most part, I think a lot of kids are doing the lessons. I think they're on. They have 3 live sessions at least with their regular teacher. So coming to PE on their own, I don't think most of the kids are fine with it.
Okay.
What was I going to say? The live session was interesting. Now, once again, I only have at the most here in my school 35, 40 kids because we have all grade level. Whereas North Grove, when they have their live session, it was like 70, 80 kids. So once again, total different. The first couple of times with the 4th and 5th, I just talked. Hadn't seen them since March. I've got a good relationship with a lot of those kids, and so they don't get a chance to just talk to each other either. So we just kind of let them talk, and we've only had one. So, but I see your point that if you pump out an asynchronous video, at least you're doing more than walking.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't want to get too much on it, but I just don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a class 11 times until winter break.
Yeah.
And I get, and I don't watch the board meetings, and I'm not going to go too far into the board meetings because I could get on a bad path, but it's just, I don't, like at the elementary, don't quite know when kids have bad days, who takes care of them? We do. So it's going to be totally different for those kids to come in. One, mask, guys, stay away from you guys stay 6 feet. So when they're having a bad day or they don't understand, it's going to be, I'm sure, really tough for those teachers to have to help them when they have to be 6 feet away and, hey, whatever
Right.
teacher, and maybe they can't see, get closer. And if they have if they're a bad day or something happened, we're always taking care of, helping taking care of them while they're not home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, yes, everyone I know to be in school. There hasn't been a year for teachers any other time where teachers like, oh, I don't want to get to school.
Yeah.
And so and other schools are doing it. Yeah. And at the time our kids are going, everyone else is going back to remote because of breakouts and everything. And there's rumorville that after the election, we're going to get shut down anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
You hear a lot about this stuff about after the election, this is going to happen. That's not going to, I don't know how they know this. You know what I mean? Like, what's the factor? What changed? You know what I mean? Administration could change. I get it. But like, there were people who are saying coronavirus is going to go away after the election. Yeah. I'm a gym teacher. I have a gym teacher brain. Explain that to me. That's conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah, that's
just tomfoolery.
Yeah, I think so. I don't say it's dumb, but that's just silly. I mean, there's plenty of people who are sick. Morgan's boyfriend, David, has the COVID. And so, yeah. And funny story, they're not, which
not funny. That's not funny at all.
Well, you're right. It's not he's got the COVID, and they don't watch anyway. So Morgan School District, the HR called and said, you will be coming to work Monday, right? She's like, the doctor gave her a note, said 14 days, you must quarantine. And they were like, no, you have to work. And she was like, what are you talking about? And apparently because they're considered essential workers, that rules don't apply to them. So she had to use a couple of sick days. Now I think she went back today, but she had to take sick days to quarantine and do what's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a half empty type of guy, but I just think that I just got a feeling that something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that to the board and say, I told you so, but I might if something bad happens.
Right. No, it was in my mind too. I mean, I don't know if we have different definitions of bad, but I feel like there is going to be like a spike in the little graph, and we will. In my opinion, again, I'm just a gym teacher with a gym teacher brain. I feel like we're going to have to end up going remote, whether it's after Thanksgiving, after Christmas, whenever. I mean, we're like the DeKalb kind of had that happen. I mean, a little bit different scenario. I understand GK had the same thing happen. I heard again in the rumor mill that a school a little bit south of Sycamore had same thing happen, where they were in session and now they're going back to remote because of a spike. I mean, I agree with you.
DeKalb never got started. They were bringing back their youths, and before they did that,
right.
Heather's district this week sent back K through 5, and they're already back.
Cool.
Yeah, because they had huge. Yeah, it just. I get it. Kids need to be at school.
What
we get it, but I just don't think it's worth it, and I just got a bad feeling that something worse than spike. If someone's going to die.
Yeah,
and I don't want that to happen, of course, but I just have that feeling because I just do. So anyway.
Yeah.
So
on the thing there, I went again. Now I'm thinking about it. So I don't know if you're finished with the thought, but I feel like we've taken a lot of our current segment with this. Related loosely to COVID is the IHSA stuff. Governor Pritzker says, nope, basketball, you're not going to happen after all. And the IHSA says, guess what? We are doing it. Gives the middle finger to the governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, your basketball is real close to you, and I know you just had some conversations with Mark, albeit he's a college coach, but still, under that basketball umbrella. I'd like to talk to him about like what recruiting may or may not look like for him, but still, where are you at with IHSA, basketball, play, no play?
And this kind of goes to the whole sports COVID versus society as well. So we're remote. People cannot go indoors to eat and all these same restrictions, but yet we've got 22 people bumping in, breathing and sweating on each other right now with football.
Yeah.
And and they play baseball. Still, you could be close contact, but especially football. And you see what happened with the Big Ten. They, boom.
Yeah.
And
now,
then
pause for a second. Why couldn't have that happened a week earlier, right? Graham Mertz or whatever his name is just goes Joe Montana against the Illini, and the next day he has COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Could do that a week ago so that doesn't happen to the Illini.
Or Justin Turner finds out he's positive during the game, has to leave.
Yeah. I don't like that one bit.
No, and then goes out there and celebrates. But if he was symptomatic, he shouldn't have been out there in the first place.
Yes.
Expect everyone to follow. So my point is, IHSA says yes, but then all these schools, the kids can't go back, but they're going to play basketball, which is, I mean, a lot of contact, a lot of sweating,
Yeah.
Of course, I want kids to play. I think for these kids not to get their chance, but it's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
What's that word? Hypocrisy that some can do, others can't. It just, I'm lost at it. I'm just lost at this whole thing, and that's part of the problem.
Again, I'm in the same boat as you, where there seems to be some hypocrisy. The Turner thing, I felt, my first thought was, what message is he sending to like the youth of the nation? There are rules set out, and he purposefully says, I'm not following the rules. And I don't feel like there's been much of a stink about it. So what is the next generation learning? That they can rebel and there's no consequences. I mean, that's what I am hearing and gathering from this. But about basketball, and sports in general, obviously we see great value in sports. All right. Character building, all of this stuff. I think I discussed with you through text that we, suffered some adversity with Jonathan recently, and I'm not overly disappointed with the whole thing because I know that there's great value to the life lessons that he can and really should learn through it. And those are the conversations I've had with him. Is what now? Okay. There's, two roads you can go down. You can do pity party, or you can say, I'm going to do my best and prove everybody wrong, and I feel, and maybe people around me, my peers and, siblings, parents, whatever, could say more times than not, I thought, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. That was my philosophy, I hope. And then I hope that's where Jonathan goes from this, and William too, in a lesser degree, and everything's worked out fine. I haven't given you updates. Maybe I'll do that off the air, but there are absolutely great character building lessons and life lessons that can come out of sports, but now just doesn't seem to be the time. I know I watched a video today where they were, a coach and an administrator and some players from Chicago. They were talking about the opportunities that they're losing currently by not being on the field to play. I mean, I get that side of it. I do feel like they're kind of having a pity party for themselves or whatever. There's other opportunities too. Think about technology. You go show your skills at a park or on a field individually or with people within your bubble and get that on film and get it out to coaches. And I mean, I think you can showcase yourself in different ways. You just have to be creative, maybe. Again, another life lesson. Find a different way, and that kind of brings in the conversation I want to have with Mark. He might be getting different ways of seeing these kids, and maybe it's not on a coin. I don't even know how he recruits, but he might be getting a video of a kid at a playground. You know what I mean? He might have to make an assessment and a determination based on that versus watching a kid in a game, a sectional final or whatever, or AAU or, it's going to look different.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that.
So to answer your question, if you're going to, why didn't you do it at the beginning of the year? It just looks bad when you decide that basketball, you're going to do it.
Yeah,
Too.
right.
I think
a
that's
good point too.
I think that's another thing is, okay, why didn't you just say, okay, we're going to do this right away? Football, volleyball, all of them. And so I think it's one of those, the IHSA understands, a lot of probably emails, and we're going to say it. We know it ain't going to happen, but hey, we're trying. We tried, type of thing.
Yeah. And to your point, which I didn't even think about, but volleyball especially, you have, it's 6 people on this side, 6 on this side. There's no interacting of the team, so you're kind of in your bubble, right?
Yeah,
And
just other than the ball.
Right. Football and basketball, there's a lot of this, where it's, looks like bumping and grinding, it's boxing out, it's blocking, it's tackling. Volleyball, there's a little bit more separation. There's a lot less contact.
Yeah,
so you have a very, very good point there.
I know it. The whole thing, like I said, it's part of the issue and that everyone has. But what I don't like about the whole situation, return to learn and the sports is once again, the teachers are the bad guys. Oh, we're doing a bad job. Oh, no matter what, if good teachers are putting good lessons together online, and they would be putting good lessons together at school. If you're not a good teacher online, you're probably not a good teacher in a classroom either. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So
I mean, it's similar to my example of the athlete. The teachers have to find a different way. And like you said, the good ones find a different way, and they send that out to the kids and to the families. And the less than good ones, maybe they struggle with it. So yeah, I think they're comparable, and it's a valid point. That again, another one that you're making.
It's tough. I mean, it is tough. Even, our teachers at the elementary are putting 3 hours, they have to do two live sessions and then a couple pod live sessions. And then they have to record I forget, so it's not that they're online all day. It's just the amount of work and it's new lessons and they had a week, to get ready, and it's all new stuff. So yeah, it's been, it's been very, gosh darn it, it's been very stressful. Samuel's on my bench. The game on? Yeah, Samuel's on my bench. He's got 2 touchdowns.
I figured it had a fantasy element, and it's so funny. I think your screen's just like, or your television is like 2 seconds ahead of mine, because your face like flashed white when I think touchdown came across the screen, and then like it did that for me, and it just happened again. I think with the little yellow arrows. Yeah. That's so hilarious.
So it's just challenging, and for me, I'm by myself all the time because they're all teaching all by myself, which it's not terrible, but all the time it gets. And when I have my live sessions with my kids, you know what? I actually miss those little bastards. I saw those faces. I'm like, oh yeah, you're cool. Yeah. You can stay home. Blah blah blah. But so it's not. It's just I hate that. That's one of my big anxiety, depression things. Is we're in a profession where we can't please everyone, which we never can anyway. But we're always the bad guys.
Yeah.
In the and it's not the majority. It's just the ones that view that are always the ones that are a little louder than a lot of the rest of them.
Exactly. And you know that from coaching too. You get it both ways.
Yes. All right. So moving on.